I love singing and I love being the vocalist and I love being the star of the show. But I also know there's lots of super talented people in the city, and I'm not always going to be that when we're writing songs. And sometimes it's about what's going to make the pitch most effective, or pitching it to sync or another artist. And hi, I'm Alexandra Beck. I am a recording artist. I'm a dancer and I'm a singer. I grew up in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada, and have spent some time in Vancouver. I also call that one of my kind of hometowns. And now I'm out here in LA, and I've been here for almost 3 years pursuing music actively. I feel like I've had so many different interests in my life, and that's like what's inspired me the most as an artist.
Where does the dream for music start for you?
Well, I've always had been in love with music. Even before I knew kind of what it was, I just remember my brother and I having a conversation when we were a little older. But, when you're a little kid and you're hearing music on the radio, but you can't really understand what's happening. Like, you can hear the melody, but you can't hear the words. And I think that's when I first was kind of obsessed with it. When I was probably 3, and you don't really understand words yet, but you're like, what is that? That's sick. And then I kind of discovered that I actually kind of had a natural talent for singing when I, started, grade 1 or so, when we started music classes and choir in school. And
okay, so this goes back to when you were a kid.
Yeah,
okay.
I discovered I was really good at singing. And so in school, I did kind of all the musicals and all that stuff throughout the years.
You were in theater and everything?
I was, yeah. So that was a big part of my music journey. But also, I've been dancing on and off for my whole life, too. So I think that also kind of showed me, I'm a kid from the middle of nowhere in Canada. I think that kind of introduced me to more, urban influences, being a dancer, and really loving pop music in a big way.
So then Britney Spears was
Britney Spears was everything, but also I think I had more of a deep love for vocalists from the beginning, true vocalists. Britney Spears is incredible. I love...
In terms of pop?
Yeah, I like such catchy music, but I think...
Who's your go-to then?
My go-to, so since the beginning, I think the first artist I obsessed over was Avril Lavigne. Let Go.
Nice. Yeah.
For the first album, in my room, on my boombox, back in the day, blasted that Avril Lavigne.
Yeah, I mean, pop is definitely what she did, but that's just the product of something. She's actually a super dope musician and talented vocalist.
So good.
Songwriter. Yeah, go on, sorry.
No, that's all good. Christina Aguilera back in the Much Music era, and then I think Crazy in Love, I had a Much Music mixtape. I had a Much Music mixtape, and I think it had Christina Aguilera, Beautiful on it, Crazy in Love, which is Beyonce's breakout single. And then I can't really remember what else was on there, but those are the two main artists that had big voices that I initially became obsessed with. I love Kehlani. More recently, I'm really, really loving Kehlani.
Yeah, she's dope. Underrated.
Yeah, super underrated. Have you seen her live?
No.
Her voice is probably the most beautiful voice I've ever heard live.
Really?
Ever. Yeah.
I know I've known about her since MySpace, which is a long time.
Oh shit,
Her,
okay. You've known about her for, you're an original fan.
Yeah, Janae Aiko, Miguel, there was
oh my God,
yeah, go on though, you were saying?
No, I don't know what I was saying.
So Kehlani, dope voice, you've been really into her jams lately.
Yeah, she's been a huge influence of mine. But Ariana Grande, for her vocals.
Of course. Yeah.
Inspired me so much. Michael Jackson, Neo.
Okay.
I'm recently kind of getting more into house music.
Good.
Working on some EDM records.
Expanding the horizons.
Yeah, so I don't know. I feel like I have a lot of influence. I had a country phase in high school. Yeah. Listen to everything.
Hey, country has great songwriting.
The best songwriters.
Can we go there with songwriting? When did you write your first song?
I didn't start writing songs probably until I was about 20.
Yeah.
And I'm 29 now.
You got something to say, right?
But yeah, exactly. But I remember being in this vocal jazz group when I was in school, and this one girl, she kind of sounded like J-Lo and Mariah Carey mixed together, and she was writing her own music. And not many there's not as many artists in Vancouver as there are in LA. So it was really cool to see she's like this really dope, super pretty girl writing her own music. And I was like, that's what I want to do. She's sick. Like, I really want to do it. So then I just one day was kind of singing in the shower and humming. I remember like right after that, and I started writing my own songs, and I was like, I'm actually really good at this.
So
I'm really good at this. Like, I need to do this with my life. So probably around 19 or 20.
So what was the first time you came up with a lyric though? And that lyric was really like, I think I can do this. Like that lyric. Do you remember that lyric?
So I had two of my first songs I wrote. One was called Mystify Me, which I have on my Spotify we can listen to later. Okay. So that one, and Tonight Is My Night. It was like, the kind of vibe that was like, tonight is my night. I deleted it off my Spotify.
You're okay. You're
but
okay.
that song was
I've deleted like 30 songs off my Spotify. So cheesy,
but also just like a self-proclamation of like, I'm going to be an artist. I've come from a family that's kind of like, what the fuck are you doing with your life? When I really started doing this and intentionally doing it. But now they're very supportive, but initially it was like, whoa, we thought you were going to become a lawyer. So yeah, I think that song was kind of like, no, I'm going to do this. And
you made the case for why you should be doing music?
Yeah. I think I played it for them, and my mom kind of got teary-eyed.
Oh, that's awesome.
And Mystify Me was kind of like I had a crush on a guy, and it was like, you mystify me kind of vibes. So yeah, those are the two main songs that I remember just being like, these are great. Like, I'm great.
I mean, it's no mystery, that like romance like drives songwriting for
all of my songs.
all of the greatest songs in the world tend to come from that area, whether it's love for humanity or love for another, right? How much of your project, because we're gonna get to your project, how much of your project is based around that, and what other types of subjects did you try to tap into?
I feel like self-discovery, yes, romance, sexual tension are two of my biggest themes, or heartbreak, but also I think kind of being happy and you didn't break me, or like, I've got this is kind of another theme for me. Maybe less so, but maybe I should start tapping into that more. One time I wrote a song about a friend with a guy who treated her like shit, and then I was like, it was kind of like a fuck you song to him, but it was like I was a third person. So that's the only other time I kind of did it, and she really liked it, but it was funny. I haven't released that song, but that worked. It was kind of weird though, like a different perspective, but it was also
because
cool.
It was for somebody else instead of yourself, right?
Yeah.
That tends to happen. Every now and then I've heard from a lot of people I've worked with that sometimes they want to talk about something they know about somebody else. And so in that respect, collaboration, how do you view that as a songwriter, as a singer? Like, it's one thing to go in a studio and work with an engineer and everybody's got their own lane. But what's it like for you when you have another talent in the room? Do you like working with other people who are singers and songwriters, or do you prefer to stick mostly to yourself?
I love singing and I love being the vocalist and I love being the star of the show. But I also know there's lots of super talented people in the city, and I'm not always going to be that when we're writing songs. And sometimes it's about what's going to make the pitch most effective, or pitching it to sync or another artist. And I think for me it's better to know who is going to be the star of the show from the beginning, because then I can try to fit myself in the best way I can to be the most helpful, I guess. Because I know I'm a great songwriter too, so lots of times I just like giving a little suggestion. And I think a lot of the time, I don't know, I think some of my writing style is really unique, so sometimes people they like hearing my point of view, and that's the way I can serve the song when I'm not the vocalist. I'm sure you can relate to that, where you're like, oh fuck, like I just want to sing right now, but you can't always. And I think that's like a maturity thing too. You can't always be the center of attention.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's two things I want to ask you.
Yeah.
One thing that came up was the industry and business in general. So I want to get to music business in a second.
Yeah.
But the other thing that came up when you started talking about the songwriting and collaborating with other people is this idea of like suggestion and feedback, right? So not only when you give a suggestion and how others handle that kind of input, but then how do you handle input when others are sending it your way?
My parents have told me that I'm a pretty stubborn person. And I think it's a good and a bad thing, because I do think I'm a strong woman. Like, my mom's a very strong, career-oriented woman, and I'm really grateful that I feel that way and I can hold my own if I disagree with someone. But sometimes I do need to remind myself, okay, this person's coming from a constructive place, and if I really believe in myself and I disagree with them, I'm still gonna, it's not like a feelings thing, it's, this is my song, or this is how I really feel. For me, it's funny because I was in the studio last night with my friend Kehlani, and we're working on a whole acoustic album together, and he's an incredible vocal arranger, so he's just started his vocal arranging business, and I'm kind of like his first person. We're really good friends. He's my first friend in LA, but we're both very opinionated, and so he said, like, I really don't like the way you sang last. Like, there's an at the end of it. And I'm like, I didn't even notice that. But he's a perfectionist, and he noticed like little subtleties like that. So a lot of the times it's really good to hear his feedback. But there was a few cases where I did disagree with him, and I did like it, so I will. It's just kind of funny. I think with Kehlani, it's more like a goofy thing, like, oh, haha, I'm going to do it this way, and he's like, it's a goofy energy, and I think that's kind of more how I've learned from our friendship and our artistic relationship from him, that's kind of the best way to handle it, I guess. But it's also good to hold your own if you believe, and you really believe that this is the best way, but sometimes, you do have to be open-minded, because, yeah. Okay. That's my answer. I don't know.
Yeah, 100%. The idea of being open, and more than anything, not taking yourself too seriously in the studio, I think is a healthy choice to make. And it only gets healthier as you settle into it more. And you're right. If you believe something is like the thing you want on the song, as the artist, you do have to fight for it. I totally agree with you, 100%. Yeah. Otherwise, you're not the artist.
Yeah. You're a pushover who's just kind of a robot following what other people want you to do. Yeah.
Yeah. You have to have some degree of self-reliance and commitment to your vision while allowing for the flexibility. I totally agree with you. So then, when you've given input to others, how have people taken it? Have they loved it? Have they hated it?
I think that in a few scenarios, it depends. Sometimes I feel like if I'm in an all-male room, I hate to say it like this, but common. Like, I feel like I have less power if it's just like me and 2 girls and like 10 guys. Unfortunately, I've been in those kind of rooms, and it was funny because one time I came up with the hook for the song, and we got feedback from our, the leader of the camp. He came in and he said, oh, we want your vocal. He told me he wanted my vocals to sound different, and I agreed with him. But I think the rest of the guys in the room, they kind of took it as like, oh, she's not as dope as we thought she was. And I was picking up on some subtleties there. I'm very intuitive, and I felt like they didn't trust my opinion as much after that, which kind of felt shitty. That was one scenario I didn't like, but I just kept moving forward, and I think now that group of people kind of respects me more and my opinion more now. One time I was in the studio, and I kind of I didn't come up with the main hook of the song, but I had some like, oh, we should end this on a high note at the end of the phrase instead of bringing it low. It just makes it feel a little bit more happy and climatic. And that was, I think I really like when I can help the song just have like those little dynamic moments that are cool. So I feel like I'm good at that as a co-writer or someone who's taking the backseat in a writing session.
Like as a listener who also happens to be a professional, right? You're like, I got to tell you, I hear this, and I think people would appreciate it, something like that.
Yeah, I think I'm a really good melody creator, not necessarily the best lyricist. I think that's
something I didn't even think to ask yet. That's awesome. Yeah,
melodies are my forte. So
is that how you start a song?
Yeah.
Before you even think of a lyric, you gotta
Usually,
have a
yes.
something like
Yeah.
that.
What about you?
I honestly, it depends.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's a phrase I'll say and I'm like, yeah. But
Mm-hmm.
generally speaking, I'm more of a like a tone. It has to feel right.
Yeah.
So not even the melody so much because I'm terrible at melodies. But
I can help you with that.
Yeah. And so people could see like that's kind of the benefit of collaborating with other people.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
But yeah, this isn't about me. But I love that. At this leg in the journey, right? I mean, you're someone who moved from essentially a neighboring country,
Yeah.
right? But you basically uprooted your life and came here and decided to build your life here. Sounds like you've established yourself, you've made friends, you're staying busy. This is a huge commitment to work, for creative work, right? And you're pursuing this, you're making music, you're doing all the things you're supposed to do, you're investing in yourself, dance classes, things like that, right? I imagine, like you're part of communities, the whole thing. What are some things you've learned at this stage of your journey? Because you mentioned syncs and all these other things that a lot of people who are early in their career probably aren't even thinking about because they're busy trying to get the songwriting part like right. And the truth is, if you get enough of a group or collective together, that part kind of takes care of itself in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But the business aspect of things may not always be to your advantage. And so what are some things you've learned so far that you feel are important?
I think when I got here, I was like chasing too many opportunities and it felt wrong. Like it felt wrong in my soul. And then you have to take a step back and be like, okay, as an artist, I can put myself out there initially, but if someone's not responding to me or they don't fuck with me, that's not on me. It doesn't mean I'm not great. It just means that we're not aligning. So I think that I learned that the hard way. I think a lot of people too say that they're interested initially, or like in this city will say like, oh yeah, like I'd love to work with you. Yeah. But it's not authentic. And I think that you can't, maybe I'm a little jaded, but you can't trust people until you really know them. So I think that that's my big thing. Now I'm just trying to work with people that I know well, and I feel like I have a connection on a real level.
I mean, you have such a unique perspective in the sense that, like, there are a lot of people who are from LA or maybe even just from another state in the U.S. and it's not really as big a deal as literally leaving everything behind from another country, and then you come here and you're trying to make friends, and like you said, you jumped at a bunch of opportunities, and these are people who were kind of wishy-washy, which does happen in LA, in all big cities. At what point did it start to really click for you, like how to navigate that? You said yourself, for people who are like wanting to fuck with you and like be in the vibe, and who like, are there signs that you see that kind of tend to tell you like, yeah, these people are cool to work with?
I mean, I think that honestly my dance community has been so amazing. That was the first real community out here that feels so authentic. Like,
Want to give them a shout out?
Yeah, Marissa Hart at the playground. Her class has been so amazing. She's such an amazing person and created such a great community just because of how dope and genuine of a soul she is. But I think that was a reminder, like, someone who leads a pack that's so wonderful like that, they make you more excited about doing your art. And so with music, then after that, I met the Creative Space community run by Jay Hatch. And he lived out in New York, and he ran this incredible group, and he actually passed away from cancer in October, which was really sad. But he was also a similar soul. Like, he really cared. He led this really genuine community, and now we're out here doing, living on what his legacy is, and it feels really cool. But we all really fuck with each other now more because of him passing, and we feel a duty to live on and take his chapter even further. And he picked out really, really talented folk who aren't, actually my collaborators, they need to be really talented, but they also just need to be genuine people. Those are like the two main requirements. And we also need to get along. So yeah, those are the two great communities I've been a part of out here that are my family out here. And I think that if I wouldn't have found those, I wouldn't feel at home in LA. Yeah.
And was it, since you always had this interest in dance, was it easy for you to find this dance community, or did like the stars align to put you in touch?
that's an interesting thing. I grew up dancing, and I think it was just kind of, it'll be a hobby, a fun thing to do when I'm out here, but.
Because it's not free, right? Like you had to invest a little.
It's like $22 to go to a class, but it was interesting because I really discovered, as I'm posting my new dance videos on my Instagram, people in the music community are really responding to it and saying, this is so dope. I didn't know you could dance like this. And then I kind of had this idea, why don't I make a music video and incorporate my dance side with my music side? So that's my music video that's coming out on the 30th for this song.
Okay.
And I'm really excited to kind of meld the two worlds together. And I think I kind of had indicators, like when I went to Nimbus School of Recording and Media, my instructor Dave Genn, he said, you're a dancer, you're a natural performer, you should merge the two worlds. And that was like 5 years ago, and I never really, it was in the back of my mind, but I never really thought I should meld them. And then I remember my ex-boyfriend's mom was like, you're such a great dancer, you should do that. And I think when people say those things and they're not really your best friend or your mom, it kind of means more.
They don't owe
you know
it
what I
to
mean?
you.
Yeah. So.
How do you view investing in yourself in those little ways? Outside of maybe buying a MIDI keyboard or an audio interface, do you always go, I need to do this, or it's I've got to do this?
Well, it's just I don't know what kind of background you come from, if you went to school or anything, but most people believe that you need to get a good education to become a doctor, or to become a lawyer, or to, you need a degree to go into publishing, or it's the same thing to me. You can't expect that you're going to be educating yourself completely just from the internet these days. You need to have, valuable people in your life, and they're masters. Like my voice teacher, Jennifer, she's a professor at the Berklee College of Music in Boston, and I FaceTimed her for 6 years taking lessons with her, and she's a master of the voice. She deserves, to be paid for her work. She's really good at what she does, and she's done years of training.
That's awesome.
And so
remote lessons.
She's made me so much better. It's great because I don't have to leave my house. I hate leaving my house unless it's adding value to my life. Yeah,
it's connected to my career somehow. Yeah. No, I'm the same way. And that's, that's actually a valid point. How much of your life revolves around just pursuing the path, moving it forward? And how much time do you actually take to really enjoy yourself as a human being and to hang out with people just as human beings and not? Because sometimes you get into a mix of friends who are only about music, and then you find out you don't have anything else in common other than that. That's
such a good point. It's such a good reminder, I think. I am a workaholic. I took a personality. That's why we live in LA.
On the podcast.
I took a personality test, and it said I'm work ID, and work gives me the most pleasure out of anything in life. So I'm trying to remind myself, though, as an artist, and I feel more inspired. I've been spending more time dating and hanging with friends lately, and I'm just feeling way better and more inspired as an artist. So it's a reminder to keep balance. But I would say before, the last couple months, I wasn't as balanced. I was probably 90-10. But now I think I'm getting to maybe 25, 75 right now.
Okay.
So I don't know. And it feels better. I just feel happier.
Yeah, no. Being a complete human being is important for the art. 100%. I can't stress that enough. So thank you so much for indulging most of my questions so far. Let's go ahead and listen to this song.
Yay!
And I want you to set it up. And so you said this comes out tomorrow. For the first episode so far, this has been awesome. Thank you so much so far.
Thank you so much.
For real.
Same.
So Alexandra,
I'm
going to play for the listeners here and the watchers here, the viewers, the hit this, right? But I want you to set it up and tell me a little bit about the song and everything. So actually tell that.
Hi. This song comes out tomorrow. Hit this. It's one of my best songs, and I'm so proud of it. It's been in the works for a while. Basically, kind of based on a night out in Vancouver right after COVID. Me and my coworker and really good friend, we're kind of dying to talk to the opposite sex at a bar after 2 years of being shacked up and not being able to go anywhere. So yeah, then I ran into a guy that I'd always kind of like had a thing for, and we ended up having a one night stand, and that's what the song's about.
Okay.
And the song, I'm the producer. His name's Dr. Chai. He's really talented, and we're working on other stuff together. And so yeah, I brought the song to him. I had just played it on the keyboard and vocals, and he had this vibe. He's like, let's make it a Kehlani kind of vibe. So that's like, that was the inspo for the beat, and he nailed the vision. So yeah, and then I have a music video coming out on the 30th, and it's my first ever full-length music video. And Marissa, my dance teacher I was telling you about earlier, she choreographed it, and it's one of the first music videos she ever choreographed and was the artistic director for. So she's really excited I think that's kind of going to be a new part of her career path. So I was really excited to kind of help her with that. And Brian Jara, he was the mastermind behind the camera, and he films all of our classes every week too. So it's just like a family team. Like, I love people I work with all the time.
Epic. And please, after this, send me all the names you want me to tag and everything. We'll do this.
Cool.
So here it is, folks. We're going to premiere Hit This by Alexandra Beck. All right. Let's line this up. All right. Okay.
No. Kehlani vibes, right?
I'm going out tonight, and it's been a while since I've been this wild, but I deserve to smile. I had a man before, you try to dim my shine.
I also have an acoustic version coming out.
Okay.
Yeah. I love the drama in my songs.
Yeah, I see what we're going for.
If you let me, baby, gonna make you crazy for me. I just need to feel your touch. You know you wanna hear to sit there, so I'ma lay you in and heat it. Stop being shy. I know you wanna be that guy. Don't you know it's kinda crazy.
Sounds great in the car. I haven't listened to it in the car yet.
Yeah, they did a good mix.
That's Shan on the mix.
Asking about my boyfriend's age. Pretty obvious. You wanna get down, and you're such a gentleman. To all my friends, that's how you win. Please tell my books. I know you wanna make
The drama with the backing vocals right now.
It's catchy.
Thank you.
The melody is really good. I can see what you mean about your emphasis on it.
It's most important to me. Thank you.
Yeah, I got it. That's cool. I love that you focus on those ad-libs.
I love ad-libs. My favorite.
So just be that guy. You know you wanna hit the
Nice.
I know you wanna be that guy.
Nice. Okay. Wow. First of all, super awesome work. Just overall production value sounds really professional. I'm super stoked for you to be dropping that. You strike me as somebody that is not only into collaboration, but is consistently growing and open to growth. And I think that's going to take you really far in any direction you want to go.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm very grateful that you took the time to do this. I know it's super random and like
this is so
raw,
fun. I honestly,
you know what I mean?
fun.
It's cool because I'm so used to doing this either in a studio or over Zoom or Riverside or something like that. But I honestly think this is probably the funnest thing and the coolest thing I ever thought to do. And I'm so grateful that Danny, who put us in touch, and you were open to this idea, and that you're helping me set the tone for the rest of the show, Alexandra.
Well, you killed it. Like, I think this is a really cool idea. What was his name? The one guy who did, I forget. He does it with celebrities. That's the only
the carpool karaoke?
Yeah, that's only, but like, this
the difference is I'm not going to drive and put us at risk while I'm interviewing.
Yeah, no, this is like a similar vibe, but it's not, no one is doing this for emerging artists. So I think it's unique, and like, you're going to go far with this concept, and whatever way I can support you, let me know too.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Essentially what I'm hoping to do, as I heard you talk about this, it occurred to me, like you said, emerging artists don't have a community. But what happens when they get to be a part of the collective that was a part of this show? You know, maybe, and I don't know what people's time is like, but maybe down the line when we get enough guests, we can create some kind of, I don't know, Discord or Slack or whatever people are using, where emerging artists can sort of pool together, especially in LA.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because good people refer good people.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. And if you're an asshole, you don't really get that far unless you kind of snaked your way in. But I get the feeling the show isn't going to allow for that to happen, because no one can fake the funk for as long as we've been talking.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
And so it really shows you as an artist, as a human being. And so again, I want to reiterate, super grateful, and I had a great time.
I had such a great time getting to know you. Well, I didn't really get to know you. You got to know me.
But that's the power of podcasting, is like you just click with people in a way that just didn't happen before. Because even without me saying much, I think the way I was asking questions tells you a lot about who I am as a person too.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. I think that you actually are really good at, because I went on tangents, I went on rants, and you you're really good at redirecting, because you probably had like planned questions.
I had 0 questions planned.
Oh, really? That's a skill.
I've done 2,000 of them.
Okay.
I better be a little good at this, right? But like, I wanted to let the show sort of happen on its own. You're an artist. Your story is going to inform things. And also, like, I can't treat everyone the same. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Totally.
So like, I wanted it to be raw. All I know was I was going to explore who you were as a person and as an artist. And the rest was essentially, I mean, you want to ask about songwriting. You want to ask about the records. Mm-hmm. You want to ask about the business. So it's not like I was pointing at pulling it out of nowhere. But generally speaking, there was no like hard structure or even planned questions. And it's not because I wasn't trying to prepare. It's because I myself am an artist and know like what may or may not be important to other people who are doing the same thing.
Totally.
But with that said, I want to give you the platform to, like, outside of the song that we just promoted, anything you want to talk about, let people know about that camera or this backup camera here, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, thank you for listening. Super appreciate it. If you like what you hear and the conversations you listen to, it would be a huge favor if you went and followed me on Instagram, Alexandra Maria Beck, and on Spotify, Alexandra Beck. So yeah, you can hear all the goods and see all the goods and keep updated with everything. So thanks for everything.